Hello everyone, Twan Michelle here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you have been here before. If you don't know who I am a psychotherapist and recovery coach, and I help folks who are struggling with narcissistic abuse, codependency, and interpersonal trauma. And today I'm going to talk to you guys all about codependency. I am going to share with you some of the patterns or traits of codependency according to CODA, which is the Codependency Anonymous group. Many of you, probably all of you, have heard of AANA, Alcoholics Anonymous, those types of things. Well, Codependency Anonymous is a similar program where there are meetings and such. There are in-person meetings, there are online meetings. There's a lot of useful information, even on their website, that can help you identify whether or not you may be struggling with codependency, and a place where you can get help in dealing with your codependency. I am a codependent in recovery, recovering codependent, however you want to call it. I am always working on maintaining awareness of my codependent traits and changing those, working on those, and trying to be whole and complete within myself, which, I want to say I feel like I'm there, but the reality is it's really, I think, kind of a lifelong journey, because codependency is something that is developed because of childhood circumstances, family of origin issues. So because these early childhood issues play a role in developing the personality, codependents have these personality type traits, and that's not something that's easily changed. Personality traits are just ingrained in who we are. And so we have to always be aware of that, be conscientious of that, and working on changing it in ways that we can that are helpful for us. Codependency has, I don't know if there's any one particular definition that fits. Lots of folks, codependents themselves, professionals who work with codependents, mental health professionals, therapists, addiction counselors, many have different definitions how they would define codependency. So it's really a set of I guess character traits, I would say. But the bottom line for codependency, for me, the easiest way for me to understand it is defining codependency as seeking worth, love, acceptance outside of the self, rather than being able to look within and give what you feel you're lacking to yourself. So codependents basically find their worth in others. They feel unworthy as they are. So we are constantly seeking validation externally to prove our worth. Codependents at their core don't feel good enough, feel unlovable, feel unworthy, just have all of these destructive core beliefs at the root. And there are many different reasons for that, mostly because of dysfunctional families of origin, your childhood home, the type of people who raised you, the type of environment you were raised in. Perhaps there was addiction, there was untreated mental illness, perhaps there was abuse of some form, or neglect, or abandonment. But there was something going on in your childhood that made you feel like you could not get what you needed. You could not get the love that you needed. You could not get the acceptance. You were unheard. You were unseen. You felt unloved. And so you go through the rest of your life feeling that way and searching for things to give you that, to fill that void. So I'm going to talk about some of the patterns of codependence, some of the behavior patterns, some of the traits. This is according to Codependent Anonymous. So the first category of patterns that I'm going to talk about is denial. Codependents have a tendency to deny what they are feeling. In fact, not only just deny as in the conscious form of denying by not accepting, codependents use a defense mechanism to suppress, deny, any unpleasant feelings. Therefore, they're often unaware of what they feel. If you ask a codependent, especially one who's still in the dysfunctional relationship, the dysfunctional family, about their feelings, they have a hard time identifying their feelings. They can't tell you what they're feeling. They can't name feelings. They survive by pretending they didn't feel anything, basically, and taking care of others, putting others' feelings and needs before their own, so that they can please and get some type of praise and some type of recognition and some type of approval in their unhealthy environment. So they are in denial about their own feelings. Codependents tend to deny their own needs, pretend everything's great, I'm fine, don't worry about me, just let me take care of you. So it's all about denying the reality of my own situation and putting others before myself. So that's the denial pattern with codependency. The second pattern of codependency is the low self-esteem. Codependents are often, like I said, not feeling like they are good enough, not feel that they are worthy. Sometimes they don't even know what they like, what their interests are. They have difficulty making decisions sometimes about their own lives as a result of the low self-esteem, because they don't know, or they don't think that they'll be good at anything. They doubt themselves. They think they're going to fail. They fear failure. They tend to value other people's thoughts about them, approval of them, more than they value their own. They're always looking to people to tell them who they are and to define their worth, because they have a hard time finding that within themselves. They just don't feel good enough about themselves. And sometimes because of that self-esteem issue, a codependent may have difficulty accepting responsibility and accountability for certain mistakes, because they don't see themselves as good enough already and they think they're going to fail at everything. And so sometimes if they actually do make a mistake, or a flaw or a problem is pointed out to them, something that they may have done wrong, they may try and cover it up. They may try and lie about it. They might get defensive about it, because for a codependent, making a mistake is a huge deal. Because remember, these people, us, me, we have been seeking validation outside of ourselves. So if I'm looking for approval from you and then I make a mistake and you tell me, well, you really didn't do that right, I may perceive that as not that I did something wrong, but that I am wrong. So I internalize my mistakes and my flaws as a codependent, and I make it about a personality flaw rather than a specific behavior. So codependents might also be very passive aggressive also in that way. Going back to the denial, just not being able to acknowledge and admit maybe if they're angry about something, but feeling it and going about it in a different way, because they don't feel they have they don't feel that they are allowed to truly express themselves. Because of that low self-esteem piece and that denial piece, they may show those feelings in more passive aggressive types of ways. Or if they're completely denying the feeling, then they're going to just be completely passive. But the codependent, when confronted about things, or maybe pleasant feelings that have been expressed, or behaviors that someone may not have approved, or like I said, just a minor mistake or flaw, they may have a hard time accepting that and even admitting that, or they're going to exaggerate it and magnify it and make it bigger than what it is and internalize it, and make it about just not being good enough. The next pattern of codependence that I'm going to talk about is the compliance pattern. When you are compliant as a codependent, you are all about people pleasing. You are all about doing what you're told, not creating any waves, walking on eggshells around people so they don't get upset, they don't get mad at you. Everybody's happy with you. As a codependent, you want to comply. As a codependent, a part of that compliance is also remaining in situations that are harmful to you for too long. We may tolerate abuse. We may tolerate disrespect. We become doormats. We allow people to walk all over us. because we don't think we deserve any better, right? We don't think we're worthy of anything. And we deny what we feel, and we want to please. So that means I'm going to stay in this unhealthy, dysfunctional, abusive relationship if it makes them happy. And you blame yourself as a codependent. If I'm being disrespected, if I'm being abused in some way, maybe I did something to cause it. Maybe I need to do something differently. So it changes the way that you think, and you tend to blame yourself as a result of not expressing and acknowledging what you really feel, and holding the abusive partner, toxic individual, whoever it is in your life that is harming you, not holding them accountable. To comply with others and seek approval of others, codependents might compromise their own values, their own morals. They may do things they feel within themselves is wrong. They may accept and give certain types of sexual attention because they want to please the other person, and because they are trying to get love. They may confuse sex with love. So not only are we wanting to comply and not rock the boat and just go along with whatever they want, we also think, well, maybe this could be an avenue to get the love that I've been seeking. Codependents may also be afraid to express their own opinions if it's different from someone else, especially someone they're in a relationship with, someone whose approval they need. So they may be quiet, they may be shy, or they may appear shy, or they may have social anxiety because they don't want to say the wrong thing, they don't want to disagree. They need whoever they're trying to get the approval from, they need them to see the codependent in a certain way. They need them to praise the codependent. They need them to approve of the codependent. So this is all about, as I said in my definition of codependency, seeking approval, value, and worth outside of yourself, looking for that externally. And if I can comply, if I can avoid speaking my truth and say what you want me to say and do what you want me to do and please you and not myself, you're happy. I don't know if I'm happy, right? Because I've denied all my feelings. I'm just trying to get something that feels like love. I'm just trying to get something that feels like approval. I just want to feel like sometimes I may be good enough if I please. So your worth is directly tied to your performance. That's the compliance piece. If I do what I'm supposed to do, if I'm good enough to this person, if I stay quiet and go along with it, then they'll love me. And the next codependent pattern that I'm going to talk about is the controlling behavior. I know when we talk about people being controlling, we often think about narcissists, but codependents have a controlling side as well. Codependents control for a different reason, though. Codependents don't control because they need to have power. They control because they have been in environments where there was so much chaos, and that gives them anxiety. So they feel the need to control the environment and things around them and people around them so that they can get their needs met, which is creating the right situation so that I can feel good enough, worthy enough, I can get approval. But I have to be able to control certain things because I want to control how people see me. I want to control how people interact with me. I want to control if people like me or not. I want to control if people think I'm good enough. I want to control, my behavior enough so that I can be loved. So we try and control ourselves, we try and control our environments, and we try and control people because we want them to see us in a certain way. Codependents often have a need to rescue and fix because this is something that gives us a sense of self-worth. So because we have a tendency to fix and rescue, we not only often choose romantic partners who need to be fixed, but then they become our project and we're constantly trying to control them and fix them. Codependency originated with addiction work. The codependent was the spouse of the addict or the alcoholic. And the codependent was always trying to control the environment, control whether or not there was drugs or alcohol, control whether or not the spouse is drinking. And the alcohol and the drug can be replaced with any type of dysfunctional behavior. Take a narcissist, for example. The codependent is trying to fix the narcissist, trying to rescue them, trying to identify what their traumas are so they can help them heal, so they can treat them better. Again, it's all about getting what we want, getting our own needs met, not in a pathological way and an abusive way as the narcissist does, but because we are so starved for love and we are consciously aware of it. The narcissist is not. The codependent is consciously aware of it. So we are going to do whatever we can to get that because the void is so huge. The lack of love is so intense. And because we don't know how to give it to ourselves, because we were never taught that as children, we don't come into this world automatically loving ourselves. We learn that we are loved and lovable from loving caregivers. And when you don't get that, you don't know. And you go through life in adulthood thinking, something must be wrong with me. I'm not lovable. I'm not loved. And the last pattern of codependency that I'm going to talk about is the avoidant patterns. Codependents tend to avoid closeness, vulnerability. They tend to push away the very thing that they're seeking. Because remember, the core belief is I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. So even though I'm trying to, on a conscious level, create and bring these things into my life, in my subconscious mind, I still don't feel like I deserve it if I'm still active in my codependency. And so I'm going to self-sabotage, reject the things subconsciously that I say that I want. So you may find yourself as a codependent pushing people away, especially healthy people. We are more attracted to unhealthy folks because that's what we're used to. We are more attracted to people who cannot give us what we need emotionally. We are attracted to people who are unavailable emotionally, people who are going to be harmful. And so when someone who comes into your life who is healthy, who is capable of emotional intimacy, which as a codependent that's not in recovery, you may not be familiar with that. You're going to create situations to push these people away, to avoid them, to find some way to get rid of them before they discover who you really are. They're not going to like me. Once they know who I really am, they're going to leave me anyway. So I better do something to get out of this now. So if you are a codependent, you may be struggling with finding a healthy relationship. You may have patterns of unhealthy, dysfunctional, abusive relationships. And those are not your fault. This is not about fault. Sometimes when I talk about the codependents or the victim's psychological issues, I think people get confused with fault. You're never the fault of any type of abuse that you endure. And you also do not have to experience abuse. Once you are aware of why you're attracted to the type of people you're attracted to, where it came from, any unhealthy behaviors and ways of thinking that you may have that you could change, that could cause you to feel better about yourself and make better decisions in relationships, then that's how you grow and that's how you change and that's how you avoid these people altogether. The abuser is always 100% at fault for the abuse. The victim, however, can benefit from examining their life and how they got in that situation, how to get out of it, and how to avoid it altogether in the future. So those are some of the patterns of codependency. Again, I did not create those. Those are found on the CODA website. It's coda.org, Codependents Anonymous. So you can go on that site and learn more about the patterns. There's a whole list of specific behaviors under each pattern. So I just gave you sort of a brief summary of all of them. But if you are interested, go on the website. You can find online meetings, you can go to in-person meetings, and you can start working on changing things within yourself to improve your life and feel better about yourself and discover your inherent worth, because you have it. Just because you're not aware of it and you don't see it doesn't mean you don't have it. You are absolutely worthy just because you are. It is your birthright. You are enough just because you are. You are lovable just because you are. And you don't have to do anything to prove it. But when we're codependents, we don't believe that. And so the goal is to change that self-defeating, distorted, flawed way of thinking, and to begin to love ourselves and see the reality. The reality is we are enough. So that's all I have, guys. If you have any comments that you want to add or any questions about this topic, put it down below. Let me know your thoughts about this. Let me know if you've been to any CODA meetings and what that was like for you. I've been to some of those, so looking forward to hearing from you guys about your experience. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share this video out with those who you think may benefit from learning more about codependency. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. What are you waiting on? We'd love to have you a part of this community. And I think that's it. Until next time, take care. Bye.